Welcome back to Tutorial Tuesday. Today we're taking a look at the butterfly kick. There are three main things to worry about with the butterfly kick, also known as the bee kick. The first is the dip, the second is the jump, and the third is the kick. It's the combination of these three things that are going to get you the most height. Let's first go over the set. I take off my right leg, kick with my left. If you prefer to jump off your left leg, then just mirror everything I'm saying. You're going to step out wide with your jumping leg, get it out in front of you. Your chest should be over your kicking leg. At this point, you're going to dip your chest down and create a little arc, bring it up and over to your jumping leg. What this does is it kind of mimics a ramp, brings your momentum from here, and then redirects it up this way. So overall, you're going to jump out, dip, and that brings you to the jump. Now here's where timing comes into play. You want to make sure that as your chest is coming up, that is when your leg starts to jump. So you combine those two things to create more height. You're going to throw yourself up. So as a progression, you can work on your dip and simply jump off that leg. You should start to be moving to the side. So put a little bit more into that, and it should look something like this. It should be throwing you off that way. Once you have those two things down, the next thing, after your dip, your jump, is your kick. Again, this is going to be timed with the other two. You want to do these almost all simultaneously to create the maximum height. So as your chest is coming up, your leg is jumping, and your kicking leg is kicking. Everything going up will drive you up into the air. So to put that together, you're going to be dipping down, over to your jumping leg, you jump off, kick, and then back on the kicking leg. Put more momentum into it, it should look something like this. And remember that you want to be traveling. If you try and send everything straight up and not over, you're going to have a very hard time getting your kicking leg around to land back on. So use all of this horizontal momentum that you've now created to send yourself traveling across. Finding yourself having trouble getting height or momentum, you can do something called a spin step. This is something I personally had to do with this trick for a long time before I really worked out the kinks. To start the spin step, you're going to step forward with your jumping leg and then turn all the way over and step forward with your kicking leg. At this point, you're going to turn back over, so you've now gone a whole 360 degrees, and you'll see that my jumping leg is out behind me, just like we would be in a normal setup. My chest is over my kicking leg. So at this point, I'm going to continue, dip down, keep the momentum going, jump and kick. Put it all together with more speed, looks something like this. Progress your way out of that to just going from standing. You can do it with your jumping leg starting forward and only doing a half turn on your spin step. So now you got a bee kick, but maybe that's not quite enough for you. Maybe you want to add a little bit of flair to it. Maybe you want something that looks a bit different. Next step, Frisbee. Is going to use the same base setup as the bee kick, but you could also use an aerial setup. The aerial is probably slightly better because you want to be a little bit more inverted with this trick, but bee kick will work just fine. So we're going to use the same setup as the bee kick. The only difference is this time we're going to be tucked in the air. Before you go completely inverted, something to try, just get a feel for it. It's the same setup, but then as you're kicking, once your jumping leg leaves the ground, I want you to pull it into your chest. When you feel your kicking leg get over, that's when you pull it. Don't pull it too early or you'll lose all of your rotation. Before you even try to go inverted, it's probably a good idea to do kind of a standing tuck spin to get a feel for when to pull in tight and when to open up, just so you know when to land. And then once you're feeling comfortable with that, try that same thing out of the bee kick setup. So to put that together, like so. Now, if that's still not enough for you, both of these can be used much like the palm spin or even as a vault. For example, butterfly kick can be turned very easily into a butterfly vault. That's actually much easier to pull off because you have your hands down on the object. Or alternatively, you do that tucked. That's sort of a Frisbee vault. This concludes the tutorial for both the butterfly kick and the Frisbee. Feel free to leave any suggestions for future tutorials, and we will see you next Tuesday.